April 24th, 2000, Monday. I'm sitting in school suspension right now. I skipped a Saturday school a few weeks back and got 2 days in school. I really don't mind except for the fact that I feel like shit. I was up all fucking night tossing and turning and blowing my fucking nose, which is constantly running. It's been a few days since I've written, and that is just because I'm too lazy. Side note, I think this is the day where I first conceived Red Brick Enigma, the screenplay. Yeah. Last Friday, after school, I got out of school and talked to Will and told him I'd meet him out at Kirk's new house. But when I got there was no Will. He left to go pick up some parts. So I called him and said I'd wait. I decided to take a nap in my truck. That was quite interesting, let me tell you. During my nap, I got paged with my home phone, blank 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 0286-69. So I quickly knew that my brother was home. So I flew back. I was pretty excited to see him, but it wasn't that big of a deal. So we hung out at the house for a while. His friend Phil was with him to stay the night. Will caught up with me later on, and we hung at my house when Alice, Kirk's sister, called us asking if we'd like to go camping. We said sure. So Will and I got a few blankets, munchies, pillows, and shit, and went to find Kirk and Tim to see if they wanted to go. Things didn't go exactly as planned. We didn't go camping at Pomona, but still kind of went camping. Will, Kirk, Tim, and myself went to Kirk's new house to spend the night. Will had a case of Bud Light, man, that's funny in 2023, for Tim and him to split. Then while at Kirk's house, I got an out of the blue page, blank 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 1499. I saw this and knew it looked familiar, but wasn't sure if it was the person I pictured. Sure enough, I called it, and it was. It was Chastity. This chick I messed around with almost a year before. Now here's the story. December of 1998 or so, while working at West Glen, this dipshit Chris started working with me. He was cool and all, but he was like one of those guys that knew everything, supposedly, and was the coolest and all that shit. He had these 3 girl friends, Heather, and Chastity. They would come down and see him. This Chastity took a liking to me and got my number and gave me hers. I don't think I ever called her, but she called me. It was maybe the second time she saw me that we exchanged them. Anyway, she called and we arranged to go out. But she was only 15 to my 17. Not too bad, but she also lived in Piper, which is about 20 minutes north. And she really only came here on Friday and Saturday nights and had to go back usually at like 9 p.m. or so. So I met her and her friends at Taco Bell. Then Chastity and I leave to go hang at Will's house with the guys. Well, back then, Tim and Will were both into smoking weed, so they wanted to go for a drive to smoke, and Will wouldn't let me and Chastity stay alone, so her and I went to my house. She met my parents and all that hip jazz, and we went up to my room. Now here's the fucked up part. She had never kissed a guy or anything. Never really touched a guy or been touched by a guy either. I asked her what she wanted to do. She said she didn't care. So I started. I got her completely naked and licked every inch of her body and ate her out and all that. She really wasn't enjoying it, I don't think. Not because I'm not good, mind you. It was just that she was frozen in place like a deer in headlights. After a little more messing around, I took out my piece and began to rub it against her. She said I could fuck her. Well, actually, it was only an attempt. You don't know how hard I tried to get it in, but she was so tight and small, I could barely get a finger in. So to get off, I taught her how to jack a guy off. Not like I jack off guys, but I've done it myself a few times. After a while, I came and shot all over her. The 25-minute drive to her house that night while listening to Metallica's Black Album was kind of weird. Excuse me. This night occurred twice more. The same stuff happening. But these times she was ragging, so I couldn't do anything to her. One of those nights was at the get-together in May, months after we started messing around. Her and I went up to my parents' room while everyone else was downstairs, and we messed around, once more shooting my juice all over her. Then about 4 hours later, on the same bed, I fucked Daria. We first messed around in early January and stopped talking in June, yet we were, I guess, dating, but only saw each other about 6 times. Chastity, alas, is also a co-worker of Michelle, whom had a thing against me after Chastity telling her about us. So when I started dating Marilyn, Michelle was very watchful. Back to the real story. I called Chastity and we chatted for a while. She had some friends over and they were drinking. I tried to get them to come over, but they couldn't, and we couldn't go over there. She told me I could meet her the next night after she got off of work. I told her I'd think about it. Saturday. Woke up at 1:30 p.m. Kirk, Will, Tim, Alice, and I all slept on the floor of Kirk's new room. We talked till about 5 a.m. before going to bed. I got up and went home and chilled most of the day. Marilyn came over for a while, then went back to her house because her parents were at this jazz band thing at school. So Marilyn and I started to make love, and it was really neat, because she shaved her entire area, let's say, and I'd never experienced that before. We fucked for a while, then I got this urge to taste her, so I did. It's more fun to do that without pubes going in your nose and mouth. Marilyn had a major orgasm, and I came all over her naked, shaved body. It was cool. After that, we stopped by the jazz band thing for a while. Daria was there with Pat, whom isn't too happy with me. Back in October, when I fucked Sandy, well, he was dating her. All of Marilyn's friends were coming up to her and telling her to get me out of there because of Pat. It took a while for Marilyn to realize who Pat was. When she did, she was kind of mad at me, but didn't really care. I knew he was mad and didn't want me there, but I was smiling and having a good old time. What the fuck was he gonna do? Fuck him. After a little hanging out at Hen House, waiting for Kirk, actually it wasn't a little while, it was an hour, we met Will, Marilyn and I did. We go in and tell Kirk we'll wait. He said it's cool, so we wait. Will realized he left his keys in the car, so he got a hanger and tried to unlock it, which actually worked. And after retrieving his keys, he closed and locked the door and went at it again. Anyway, I take Marilyn home about 1:30 p.m. and then rush up to Hy-Vee to meet Chastity. I waited for about 10 minutes before her and Heather came out. Then Chastity and I went to a parking lot and got into her car. Strangely, Metallica's Black Album was playing. We talked for a while and then started to kiss and make out. She took her pants off and I began/tried to finger her. I hadn't fingered a virgin since, well, her, almost a year before. It was really fucking weird. I fingered Marilyn a lot and it is so different. There's like this wall that it feels like you have to almost go under, really, to finger them. She started to give me a hand job, and after a little tugging from both of us, I came in a gap sack. I really do like Chastity, but it's just different. She's very attractive. Nice, skinny, pretty face, lovely ass legs, and a nice set of tits. Plus her hair and glasses make her look like one of those smart chicks. I got her pager number and said I'd call, but I'm not sure if I will. Sunday. Really didn't do shit except watch Go at Maryland's and lie in bed miserable all night. Which brings us to Monday. I'm just now getting back to in school. I had permission to go to fifth hour. I was reading Jim Carroll's Fear of Dreaming when I started to think about Chastity and what she said the other night and how I just now realized I didn't like it. We began making out in her car, in the front seat, and I said that I preferred to go to the back. So we did. I looked at her and asked, "What do you want?" Sexually. That's when she said, "You've not changed at all." It really makes me feel sad, not because she doesn't know that I've changed, but now I have this unsure feeling making me wonder if in fact I have changed. To be honest, and it does pain me to say this, I really have not changed that much. I have a steady relationship, but we all know that I always fuck it up. I think my mentality is the same, yet I can control my actions better. Sometimes. No end quote.